Hello, I'm Mark Fisher. I'm the pastry instructor here at Indian Hills. This afternoon, I'm going to be demonstrating how to make pâte à choux, which means eclair paste. We'll be making eclairs and cream puffs out of it. The ingredients involved in this is shortening, milk, bread flour, whole eggs, and a pinch of salt. I'm going to start off with, I got my milk and shortening on the stove right now. I want to bring that to a full rolling boil. Once that comes to a boil, I'm going to add my bread flour, mix that in. Once it comes off the stove, it's going to go right to my mixer. I'm going to attach my paddle to it and let it start mixing, let the paste cool down a little bit. Then I'll start tempering my eggs into the dough that's in the mixer. Once the eggs are all incorporated, it will be ready to come off. I'll fill my pastry bag with a large star tip, and I'll pipe my eclairs and cream puffs out in the sheet pan. Once they're on the sheet pan, they go into the oven at 375 for 10 minutes. Then I will turn the oven down to about 350 for another 40 minutes until they're finished baking. First thing I want to do right now is I want to get my shortening melted with my milk, and I'll bring that to a full rolling boil. Once this gets to a boil, I'm going to add my flour to it. The cream puffs and eclairs are a nice pastry item for your bakery cases. You can do them in as a nice appetizer maybe, or as a little party you might be doing. We'll fill them with a pastry cream, which is kind of a rich type vanilla pudding. As far as finishing them off on the top, we can dust them with powdered sugar. Sometimes we'll take a chocolate ganache, dip the eclairs in a chocolate ganache, makes a nice finish on the top of the eclairs. This also, the dough can be used to make French donuts. It has kind of a real rich, eggy taste to it. Okay, my milk starting to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'll turn the heat off. Got a good boil going. Now I'll add my flour. Put your flour in all at once. And before I turn the heat back on, I want to stir it and get all that flour as much as I can absorbed into the liquid. Turn my heat back on now. You want to make sure all the flour gets incorporated, and it's going to have the consistency of a real stiff, dry mashed potato. It will pull away from the sides of your pan. And once this gets all incorporated really good, I'll take it off the stove, and I'll take it right to my mixing bowl. You see it's coming loose from the sides of the pan, nice and clean. Wants to ball up in a nice little ball. This is what we're looking for. And I'll take it to my mixer. Put my paddle attachment on. I'm going to let it mix for a little bit. The reason why you want it to mix is you want the paste to cool down a little bit slightly. If you don't, and you start adding your eggs to it, you could cook your eggs too quickly in it. Right now it's probably about 175, 180 degrees. We want to get it down to between 140 and 150 degrees before we start adding our eggs. And I'll start adding my eggs slowly. Once I got all my eggs in there, I will stop this just for a second. I want to scrape down the sides of my bowl and plus the paddle and make sure all the paste gets incorporated into the eggs themselves. You can mix this on medium to a low speed. You don't want to incorporate a lot of air into it. The leavening in it that makes the cream puffs and eclairs rise is the steam that created from the eggs themselves that's in the mix. That's why you bake them at 375 to 400 degrees the first 10 minutes, and that creates the steam to make the cream puffs and the eclairs give their structure to them, plus makes them rise. Okay. Got a nice smooth batter. Has that consistency of a nice soft whipped mashed potato. And you want to work with this while it's still warm. If you let it chill down too much, it has a tendency to get really stiff on you and makes it hard to pipe out your bag. Plus, the heat, you lose all that heat, and you do lose some expansion in your product when it's being baked. I'm just using a pastry bag with a large star tip. You could use a plain round tip. It doesn't matter. When they bake, they kind of bake in a. I kind of describe the texture of sometimes it kind of looks like cauliflower. It has a real lumpy type skin to it. For the cream puffs, just gonna make a round circle. You want to try to keep them all consistent in size so they all bake evenly. Okay, for the eclairs, we're going to make a long cylinder shape type roll. Egg in one spot and start piping it out. And when I get them to about 3/4 of an inch wide, then I'm going to start dragging my bag across my sheet pan to about 4 inches long. Tear it off and go do my next one. Now you can make little mini cream puffs and little mini eclairs out of it too. A lot of times we'll use a little mini cream puffs for making little bonbons. A lot of times we can use them to fill with a chicken salad, tuna salad, then make a nice little hors d'oeuvre for a little party. So you can just make them just a little smaller, not quite half the size of your big cream puffs. Once you got them panned up, they go right into the oven. When they're done, this is our eclairs, and these are our cream puffs.